probably like a year into riding, I went on a motorcycle trip in Europe with 3 other girls, and I was the least experienced rider. And it was a trip for Husqvarna. They had just come out with their Supermoto 701s. Terrible bike to be riding cross country, but it was really fun. Okay. We were there for almost a month. That's the trip where I became really good friends with Becky. Actually, it's Axel. Like, that's where we became like best friends. I remember we parked our bikes next to each other, and I went to get off my bike, and I thought the kickstand was down, and it wasn't. Oh, and I dropped my bike, and it knocked her bike over, and it was just like, I was like, oh, this girl's gonna hate me. And then we became best friends.
I love that. I love
it was
that.
A good introduction that could have gone bad.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Welcome to High Octane Hustle. I'm Fastlane Jane, and this is not Design Muse.
No, this is Jason Mulligan. I'm on the other side of the camera because Theresa is stuck in Palm Springs.
Yeah. So he's pinch hitting for us, but we're so excited today to welcome our guest, Adri Law.
Hi.
Yeah. So Audrey, we have a laundry list of stuff that we can talk about with you. With regards to the Paradise Roadshow, you're a motorcycle rider.
Yes.
You went to Portugal with, what's his name?
Norman.
Norman Reedus.
Yes, that was fun.
Food truck wars. What did I miss?
I was pulling some,
We're
stuff.
going all the way.
All the way. What did I miss?
I mean, there's probably a lot of stuff. I know you do a lot of artwork or graphic design, photography.
I'm a photographer.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that
all started.
that we don't. Yeah.
Kind of, yes.
I love that. So where do you want to dive in?
Maybe we could start at like motorcycles, because I think that kind of like really sets the scene for everything. It's kind of how all of this started.
It opened the gates for you to
kind of. I mean, photography
was
already something I was doing. I've been a freelance photographer like my whole life.
Really?
I went to school for photography.
Okay.
And
this is a perfect place to start.
I went to school for photography.
We don't need to go to elementary school or high school or something, but wherever it started.
I don't know.
We could. I think with a Polaroid or something, and your parents give you the Polaroid or the camera.
Pretty much, yeah.
I like that.
I started taking photos at a young age, like going to like concerts and stuff like that, and shooting bands, and just started shooting my friends.
What inspired that?
I really liked music and going to shows with my friends, and like I got a little digital camera for Christmas when I was like probably like 14 or 15, and I would just take it to shows and just take pictures of the bands and my friends and stuff. And then I kind of really started to fall in love with this like creative outlet. When I was young, my parents really wanted me to be like a doctor, a lawyer, or something.
The usual things.
Yeah. And I fell in love with art, and I was very scared to tell them that I really wanted to be a photographer, but they were incredibly supportive.
I love that.
They were just like, we want you to go to school and get a degree, and I did. So I have a degree in photography. I do still shoot photos here and there, but not as much because the shows take up so much of my time. But yeah, I was just shooting a lot, and then I kind of just started riding motorcycles randomly. I saw a girlfriend riding bikes on Instagram, and her dad rode all her life, and I was like, that's so cool. I really want to learn how to ride. I had no connection to motorcycles before that, and she was so like forthcoming with information, like do this, do that, I'll help you. And she told me to go take the motorcycle safety course, and I did, which I always recommend to people if they want to learn how to ride. Like, don't like learn from your friend or something. Like, that's not the way to do it. And I took the class, and she would pick me up. We like lived close to each other. She'd pick me up on her, what was it? A Yamaha Star, which is like a 250, like small bike. She'd pick me up.
So both of you guys were on that.
Yes,
trying to get around.
You're holding on.
Yeah, we lived in Echo Park at the time, right down the street from Dodger Stadium. So she'd pick me up, and I'd get on her bike, and we'd ride up to like one of the empty parking lots, and she'd let me practice on her bike.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I love to like credit her for being a big reason why it was so easy for me to learn how to ride, and I felt very like supported and like seen by her, and it was really, really like it was a really cool experience, because I don't think that is always the case for people. That's just how I started to learn how to ride. And then I went and bought a bike with a friend. I bought a 1970 Honda CB350. Do not recommend a vintage bike for your first bike, but I loved it. It was great.
You were forced to learn how to ride it and work on it. And
I didn't work on it too much, but I found like really good mechanics to work on it. And I just practiced riding that around. And there's a lot of times where I dropped the bike and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. It was like kind of scary. And I just kept going, and I'm really glad I did, because I feel so corny saying this, but motorcycles changed my life.
I love that. That's how I feel about cars, so I understand that completely.
My whole life changed because I started riding motorcycles. Like my whole life revolves around vintage cars and bikes, and I can't imagine my life really another way.
I love that.
Yeah, so I had the vintage bike, and then I wanted to start going to like campouts and riding like further distances. I mean, I pushed that bike really crazy because all my friends had Sportsters and Harleys and stuff at the time. So I was still keeping up with them, but I eventually sold that bike and then bought the Sportster I have now, which has gone through like many iterations. And it's beautiful now. I love it exactly how it is now.
It's a reflection of who you are as an artist, right?
100%. I love that. My bike is very me. Like it looks like it belongs to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then several years later, I got a vintage car. I got a 64 Falcon, a red one. And I had that for like a year or two. And then I sold it and got the Ranchero that I have now,
What year is your Ranchero?
65. It's pretty similar to the first car I had, but it's just kind of like a little.
You can put the bike in the back now.
I have put the bike in the back. It's like not great to do for the car, but it can fit in there in a pinch. But I do feel like the car and bike I have now are very, very much me and like good representation of me, and I love those things very much.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, you're saying you have a Ranchero.
Yeah, it's a 73.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it's
the only Ford that you own.
So big. We have a Ford Ranger off-road truck. Okay. Remember that?
She's mostly Corvette.
Okay.
But I love red, and I have a 64 Corvette, so that you and I have in common.
Perfect. Well, I don't have that car anymore, but.
Oh, okay. Well, we tried.
I did.
But the Ranchero made it through 2 children learning to drive.
Oh, cute.
But before that, it was owned by my husband's father, who then sold it to his brother-in-law, who then turned it over to us.
Really kept it in the family.
Really keeping in the family.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I was telling Jason the other day that I rolled up to the shop and I'm like, we really need to do something with that.
Because now it's just sitting.
Yeah, I mean, it was the thing that I would take to Home Depot
to
go get the Christmas tree. And we have so many funny stories with the kids in the car. I mean, it's
so good when the cars have history like that. And it's like, there's a lot of sentimental value. It's not just like, oh, it's cool. Like it's been through a lot of generations of your family. And I think that's the coolest thing about these vintage cars is they have such history and such a story. Like even if it didn't belong to your family, like someone else had it before and they have some kind of cool history.
Yes.
Did you, and when you got the Ranchero, did you like find anything hidden in the seats or the glove box? Like that's always fun.
Yeah, I did find some little things. So my friend Dorian actually helped me find that car. He has a shop called DV Mechanics. He builds like Alfa Romeos and Porsches and stuff like that. And he low-key likes Fords. Don't tell anybody.
Okay. Oops. We'll have to cut that out.
So he helped me find that Ranchero when I sold my Falcon, and it actually came from Palm Springs. So we went out to get it, and it belonged to a husband and wife, and the husband was an airplane mechanic and his wife was a flight attendant. And
so cute.
Yeah, and so it was her daily driver. And so she would drive it to the airport, and he did it up really nice for her. He like put a crate motor in it, has power steering. He put like a more modern radio in it. The seats are really comfortable. The upholstery is nice, and like it's just like it has air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
He made it nice and comfortable and safe for her.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it's cool to kind of like have that. And I found like little random stuff in there. There was like little flight attendant pins and like some, just some random stuff that just kind of like.
That's really cool.
Did you put that pin anywhere in the car, or did
I think it's just in the center console still. But he kept.
I would have put it on my visor.
Yeah, the visor.
I don't have visors in my car, but that would be like immediately. That's where I'm going with that.
He kept really good records also of all the work that he did, all the receipts. I have everything. So that's also very convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the motorcycle. Mm-hmm. So you've done some adventures with the motorcycle, yes?
Yeah, on my motorcycle and on other motorcycles.
Tell us about the adventures. Tell me about them.
I think
my daughter and I, just to add more flavor to this, my daughter and I both got our M1 together.
Amazing.
We did the whole Harley Davidson safety course and did
I cannot imagine my mother riding a motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
That like stresses me out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But I also race
at least
a car.
does she stress out?
But this is different. My mom is very different.
Oh, okay.
Does she stress out that you ride a motorcycle?
You know what my parents did in the very beginning, and they were very confused why I even wanted to ride motorcycles. And at first they're like, I don't want to hear anything about it. They were kind of like anti. And then like I was about like a year into riding, my dad randomly sent me this photo of him sitting on a Triumph
that's so
TR6.
Cool.
And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I had a motorcycle. I was like, okay.
Now you know.
All right, now I know.
Now you know.
It's a really cool photo. I'll have to send it to you guys.
So it's in the family.
Please do.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, so you rode a motorcycle. And he didn't want to like tell me.
Does your mom know?
Yeah, she does. And
she was on the back.
No, not yet. They met much later.
I love that.
But yes, in the beginning they were like not into it, but then I think they saw what I was doing with it and like creating my shows and like getting all these really cool opportunities, and they were like, okay, like we're okay with it now. Like we're open to hearing about it, and I just started getting all these cool opportunities, getting to go on trips and getting to do all these cool adventures, and then they were like, okay, I guess this is okay. And now they come to my shows and they're all excited.
Cool.
I'm sure, because they're like, that's our daughter.
Oh my mom is insane. Like,
that
Mom,
doesn't
please
change.
Stop talking to everybody. Like she's my daughter. This is my daughter. She like loves it, and I'm just
I do that with my kids.
It's a mom thing. I know.
It's a total mom thing.
Yeah, I know.
You just got to put up with it.
Yes, I know.
Okay. Favorite adventure that you had in the motorcycle?
Okay.
Because you ventured away from Echo Park and you've learned how to ride this.
From Dodger Stadium.
Yeah,
from Dodger Stadium.
Dodger Stadium.
About probably like a year into riding, I went on a motorcycle trip in Europe with 3 other girls, and I was the least experienced rider. And it was a trip for Husqvarna. They had just come out with their Supermoto 701s. Terrible bike to be riding cross country, but it was really fun.
Okay.
We were there for almost a month.
Wow.
Riding around in the rain, in the cold. Like it was in the summertime, but it was not. The weather was not great.
Yeah, Europe.
It rained a lot.
Wow.
And
boy, that's a quick study for you, right?
Yes, and it was like those bikes were really tall. And so I definitely dropped that bike a lot. And that's the trip where I became really good friends with Becky. Actually, it's Axel. Like, that's where we became like best friends. I remember we parked our bikes next to each other, and I went to get off my bike, and I thought the kickstand was down, and it wasn't.
Oh,
and I dropped my bike, and it knocked her bike over. And it was just like, I was like, oh, this girl's going to hate me. And then we became best friends.
I love that. I love
It was
that.
a good introduction that could have gone bad.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it might have gone bad if you were a guy.
What were some of the countries on that first trip that you guys rode through?
So we flew into like Austria. We rode in like Switzerland, Germany, Italy, Czech Republic, Prague. It was a pretty cool trip.
Through some of the Alps and the mountains and stuff.
A lot of the Alps were amazing. Swiss Alps, Italian Alps, like it was insane, beautiful. Like, and it was a sponsored trip. It was like for Husqvarna. We were like shooting content for them. I like got Converse China randomly to sponsor it. Like, so basically that trip was put on by Lana, Women's Moto Exhibit. And I had just met her like a couple months prior, and she was talking about this trip. She was in LA visiting, and I was like, that trip sounds so cool. I want to go. She's like, if you can get a sponsor to give us some money, then pay for you to come and like, you know, pay for some of the trip, you can come. And then at the time I had a friend who worked at Converse China, and they're like, yeah, here's some money. And then I got to go on the trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dreamy.
Yeah. It all aligned really well. And that's actually the trip where Paradise Road was born.
Okay. Talk about that.
So Lana at the time, she was like, had an idea, and she had a connection at the Ace in Palm Springs, and she's like, I wanted to do this car motorcycle show, but she kind of was all over the place with her ideas and like wanted to involve lowriders and all these things. And I was like, well, those cultures are all like a little bit different. It's all just kind of a little bit separate, even though it's all kind of under the same
There's
umbrella.
some fringe stuff that crosses over, but
yeah,
as
it's
a core
like
thing,
100%.
it'd be a little bit too much. Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, we can narrow it down. And the first one was like, I think 72 and older. And then I brought Chase Stopnick in from Cycle Zombies, because he is like very connected into the motorcycle world. So he was kind of like helping tap that world more, like the choppers and the old stuff. And so then we just kind of that's how we started the show. She was like, do you want to do this with me? And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Now you're going into your 9th year of this show. Is that correct? 8th year, 9th year?
Yes, 2025 will be the 9th year, which is crazy because then it's 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to do something special for the 10 year.
Yes,
have you even thought about it yet?
Definitely stressed about that. But yeah, I do have to do something really cool for year 10. But as of this year, I am the sole owner of the show. So now it's all on my shoulders.
All on your shoulders, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But tell me, here's the thing. When you start a show like that, What are your expectations? What were the goals? Did you have them?
No.
And then it changes throughout your history.
There was no expectation. The goal was to put something cool on that was curated and fun and a good time for people. And that was it, And it's definitely turned into something else now. I mean, it's still, that is the core of it. But it's much bigger than I think we ever dreamed it to be.
Just got to scale it up. Yeah. And still keep the same.
How many participants the first year?
Oh God, I don't even know. It was like
couple hundred.
Yeah, maybe if that. Like it was a lot of just friends, you know.
They're like, hey, I'm gonna come support you.
Exactly. Bring your bike. It was free. It's just like a good fun party, Yeah. And now it's like, a couple thousand people coming out over the course of the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is. I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, this is stressful because it's like in a month. But it's
like exactly a month.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. When are the dates? Just
January 10th and 11th. So it's a Friday, Saturday event, and it's so fun, and it's really personally fulfilling to put the show on, even though it's like stressful as hell, because I feel like it's a big reflection of me and the things that I like, and I'm just like, well, I hope everyone likes it too, because this is what I care about, and this is what I like, and like it's really important to me to try and like preserve that culture as like a young person that is into these old things, because there's going to a lot of car shows, it's a lot of like older guys, which is great, like they're doing it, but it's if there's not young people carrying on these traditions and like caring about these old things, they're just not going to exist anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So it's important to kind of like introduce this to younger people, and like that's why it's exciting that Paradise and Palm Springs is like an all ages thing, because people bring their kids, they bring their grandpa, their dad, you know what I mean? So it's like really cool that it kind of span the generations of people, and they can like show this to their children too.
Since 1987, GTS Customs has specialized in restomod Corvettes. From widened bodies to pro touring vehicles with all today's modern technology. If you've got a Corvette, an old Corvette, and you want to make it drive like something new, contact gtscustoms.com.
Baja Forged, signature vehicle builds and off-road products built to forge your own path. Baja Forged was basically made because we loved off-roading. We loved the open roads. If you're looking for off-road products to help you get out on the terrain, visit bajaforged.com. Follow us on Instagram at Baja Forged for our latest builds.
Yeah, and I think that the reality is, we were talking a little earlier before the podcast about the longevity of a lot of the cars that are being built now, and looking to, well, what car would I restore? At what point is that a cutoff? What would I do? And I think that bringing forward that older stuff, it's refreshing.
And I think it all cycles through, because, I mean, we've gone to a couple shows recently that were all 80s and 90s cars. Like,
that's still old too.
No, but I'm the same. But compared to something that's
60
50s, 60s, 70s, it's a different kind of thing. But then you look at it, okay, well, that's now a 40-year-old car.
Yeah.
Whereas 10 years ago, a 70s car was a 40-year-old car. So it all kind of cycles through. But you can't necessarily just forget about all of the old stuff or the original stuff, kind of bring that history forward.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. And then you said the dates are the 7th and the 8th? No, I said
the 10th and 11th.
10th and 11th. I don't know where I got that.
We'll put that in at the end as well.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's exciting. And now with the show, what can one person come up and expect to see there? Just beautiful cars, beautiful bicycles, motorcycles.
Maybe some bicycles.
I don't know. Electric bicycles? No.
Definitely a lot of cool old cars, and it kind of varies. It's not like, there's definitely hot rods there, like, and there's 50s, 60s, 70s cars, like we're accepting now up to 84. Okay. And that year really came for the motorcycle stuff, so I could get all the the shovel head motors. Yeah. That's the cutoff for the shovel head motor, so it kind of seems weird for the cars, but I just
get an 82 IROC coming in.
Whatever, as long as it's 84
got a mullet
older,
on them,
I'm just not like. I'm like, if it's old and you love it and it's whatever, bring it. You know what I mean? I'm not such a stickler. Like in the beginning, we were really, really, really anal about everything. Like, and it's like, I want it to be more accessible to people. I still want it to have the spirit of like celebrating the old things, the vintage stuff, but it's like, I don't need it to be so like,
hardcore.
You want to have fun. Yeah, you got to have fun with it. And
and
something's cool. don't exclude it.
Yeah, and I have to just be like, a little bit more inclusive, because it's like the more we can involve in the show, it's like the more people can be involved, and people can come enjoy that. But I have another show called Reunion as well, which is like a side note, which is like 89 and older. So it's like, it's a little bit broader now.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you have something that caters to so many different...
there's definitely a crossover, but I think Paradise is a little bit more deeper into the vintage stuff, and then Reunion is a little bit more like relaxed and a little more like modern, Yeah.
And what a cool place to have that type of show when you're paying homage to the older vehicle in Palm Springs.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Ace Hotel, how long has that hotel been around? It's been around for quite a while, right?
I do not know the history about that, but we've done it at
we can all Google it later.
Yeah, you guys can Google it. We've done it at a couple different hotels. Well, we've done it at the Saguaro Hotel, which is like right down the road, and then we've done it at the Ace Hotel. And each one has their like pros and cons, and it's interesting to kind of go back and forth, because it's like, just a little bit different, spice it up. It's like something to consider,
What I remember seeing some photos, I don't know if it was a couple years ago, of some of the choppers sitting around the swimming pool. Was that at the Ace or was that at the
That is actually at the Nashville show.
Oh, that was the Nashville show.
Yeah, so I do Paradise in Nashville.
Okay. Yeah, that's a perfect segue, because I know that you do that there. So how long have you been... And when is that show?
How many other shows you got going?
How many shows do you do?
I do 3 right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've also been talking to a friend about trying to do a 4th one.
Well, there you go. One for each quarter.
It's just, even just thinking about it, I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, I've been talking to my friend David, who does Cafe Races of Instagram, to do a show that kind of celebrates Asian culture in the motor world.
Oh yeah.
I'm half Chinese.
Okay.
And so we were talking about doing the show in Chinatown. We haven't even talked that much about it because I'm so busy. But it's something
It'd be cool, something different.
It's something super different that I would love to do, to be able to celebrate our Asian culture, and that is just something that's so not even on the map.
And I mean, I know it's more Japanese on that, but Anderson Street has several shops that are more, they're JDM type shops and stuff. But that's what I'm saying. There was a mini truck show there a couple months ago.
Yeah, so a lot of that is definitely more David's world, doing the cafe racer stuff, and a lot of the cool Japanese bikes and stuff like that. But I want to be a part of that, and bring part of what I do into that, especially as a female, and and with this Asian heritage, be able to kind of melt that all together, because that's his world in a lot of ways. But I want to be there to support that and help him pioneer that and do a cool
I
event.
love that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. You just have to see one on your calendar to fit that in.
Okay.
So aside from that, Nashville. So when's Nashville show?
So that's in July, and I think July 19th, I think, is we try to have it on the same weekend every year. There's so many cool things that go on in the South.
Right.
It's really hard to find a weekend, and the weather there in the summer is crazy.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of cool swap meets a lot of those motorcycle guys go to, and then there's this thing in Georgia called Grundle Run that people go to, and then there's the Harley anniversary is in July usually too. So trying to get it in a weekend in the summer is really hard. But we found this one weekend that's been working for us, because also the Fuel Cleveland is that time. So a lot of people are over there. So the July 19th, I think, is when we're going to do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And how many years have you been doing that?
3, I think. I think this next one would be the 4th year. That show's really cool.
That's really cool.
It's different. It's really different. It's than the one in Palm Springs, because it's a lot smaller and feels more like a little house party type of thing.
Right.
The place we do it is called the Dive Motel, and that motel is so cool. All the rooms are different themes and stuff.
Oh, that's
and it's
cool.
just a really easy, manageable size. So that show's not anywhere near stressful.
That's your fun show to put together.
Yeah, I have a producer that I use, and she's really great and really on it. So she just having her help me with that show is really great too. But that one is so much easier. But this past year, my best friend and I did a road trip from LA to Nashville, and with our dogs, and it was insane. It was so fun.
In the Ranchero? Or on the motorcycle?
No, to both of those things. No, we actually
in a van with air conditioning.
We actually got Land Rover to give us a Defender to take.
Oh, nice.
That's rad. That's a really cool car.
Yeah, throw all the dogs in the back.
It was so incredibly comfortable and just fantastic.
Okay,
It was so good. And my friend, her name's Janthavi. She's my best friend. She loves driving, so I was like, go off. Like, I was like, let me know when you want me to drive. I drove maybe for like a couple hours during that she drove the whole.
All the way from here to Nashville.
She drove the whole and back.
Oh my goodness.
But it was so
what
fun.
cool places did you stop along the way? Because you obviously had to stop for the dog, so.
Yes, we did.
Not for you guys, for the dogs.
Just for the dogs. We really jammed it there, though, I will say. We stopped in Arizona and somewhere in Arizona. We stopped.
Somewhere fun.
Well, we went and stayed at her friend's house, but we got there at like 3 a.m, slept, and then just like left. And then
I love a friend like that.
It was great. It was really great.
Left him a note. Hey, thanks. See ya.
Yeah.
We saw her in the morning for like 5 minutes, but like she just left the door unlocked for us. We just like walked on in.
Perfect.
Went to sleep. We stopped in Amarillo, Texas, obviously, and played that song, you know?
Yeah, good girl.
And we briefly stopped in New Mexico and just jammed through there. And then I think Arkansas, like Little Rock, Arkansas, stayed there, went out to a bar. It was very weird. And then we got to like Memphis and went to the Pyramid Bass Pro Shop, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It was sick.
There
And
you go.
We went to like Sun Records. Very
cool.
brief. Also, we got some like barbecue or hot chicken or something, and then we went straight to Nashville.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we definitely took our time a little bit on the way back, and it was like a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, you didn't have the deadline to get there.
Well, she had to get back for some work stuff, but we definitely took a little bit more time to like mosey around and like, you know, stop at some antique stores and like enjoyed that a little bit more because we did have more time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that I want to really touch about the Portugal trip. So we've kind of been all over the place, but tell me about that, because now you've had a couple of years under your belt in terms of writing.
Oh yeah.
I think that you got to tell me about that.
Okay, yeah,
because I'm learning a little bit of Portuguese.
Oh, cool.
And very little. Bom dia.
I was gonna say I don't even know one
Ciao,
word.
ciao.
Ciao ciao. Okay,
Ciao, ciao.
that I can go with. Yeah.
Portuguese is a really interesting language. I don't speak it, obviously, but that trip was really cool. So I just kind of got contacted on a whim from a producer of Norman's show. So Becky was on that show, and a couple years prior.
Becky, your best friend, we talked about her earlier, right?
Yes,
that you knocked her bike over.
Yeah,
sorry.
Her Instagram is actually Axel.
Oops.
Yeah, so she was
I've
on that
done
show. Yeah, I mean, I've dropped bikes, whatever. It's just part
I know
of
it happens.
You just don't want that to be your first introduction to somebody.
No,
but it worked out.
No,
so
you don't really usually want that. Or you could become best friends. I don't know.
Yes,
You never know.
I think that you win.
One way or the other.
You were winning.
Yes, definitely. I got lucky on that one. Yeah, I just got contacted by one of the producers at like a really interesting time in my life. And she just was like, would you be interested in doing this? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And they're like, okay, we have a couple, we're either going to do it in like Italy or Portugal or somewhere else, I think they said. And I was like, okay, well, they're like, do you want to, I think it was like a week before the trip, and it was actually on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's a cool birthday.
Yeah, it was a really cool, it was really cute. They got me cake and stuff. It was really cute.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, they were like, do you want to, and it was a short trip, but they were like, okay. And then they just booked everything for me, and I flew out there. I was there for like, I think 4 or 5 days. And
that's awesome.
I'd never met Norman before, but you know, I have a lot of friends who know him from like motorcycle stuff, and he was great. He was so cool. We got along really well. Like, I rode a really cool like Triumph, and it was really nice and comfortable. It's like a new bike, and they were like, "What kind of bike do you want to ride?" I was like, "A Harley would be cool, but like, I think Norman has like some deal with Triumph or something like that." And I was like, "Honestly, whatever you guys want to get me, I don't mind. Like, I'm happy to ride a different bike, you know." And the bike was great. He was like, "Would you ever get one?" I was like, "Probably not," but it was great.
But it was.
Are you shipping? Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
are you shipping this back for me?
I mean, I'll take this one, yes. I don't know if I'd ever really buy.
Now, was it a bigger bike?
No,
or
it was like
good size.
I think it was like a Bonneville or something.
Okay.
But it was nice. It was like all new and all the, like, it was probably one of the first
stuff.
newer bikes I really rode.
Okay.
And yeah, it has, like the nice display. And I'm like, oh, it's just like turns on like this. Like kind of quiet.
You're like, this is too fancy.
I was like, this seat is comfortable.
I might enjoy this.
I definitely did enjoy it. And it was beautiful riding. I had been to Portugal before, but not for like, I didn't ride motorcycles there.
That's definitely a bucket list for me. I've always loved the idea of going to Spain, but to go to Portugal would be hands down for me.
Yeah, you should go.
Yeah.
You have to go.
I'm gonna go. I want a birthday present like that.
It was a fantastic birthday present.
I love that. And you were talking about Norman. Yeah. Tell us more about Norman. Who is Norman?
So Norman Reedus, he's an actor. Like, I guess I didn't really realize how famous he was.
That's because I've seen on that show, like, chances everywhere there's going to be 50 people in the most random town.
100%. Yeah. Like, I've watched Walking Dead before, and like, I guess I just didn't really realize what magnitude, like, he was so
especially
big.
Outside of the U.S. or something.
Yeah, and we were in some small towns, and it would just be like people, like, I'm sure they don't really get to see celebrities too, so they probably like, it's a lot for them. But like everywhere we went, people were like, Norman, Walking Dead, whatever, calling him Daryl. That's his character's name. But I
didn't watch that show.
I was going to say,
there's like 1,000 seasons of it. There's a million. He has like a spin-off of just his character.
I see something every time I turn on the TV. There's some new Walking Dead series or spin-off.
That's awesome, though.
But he's like, honestly, he's so incredibly nice. Anytime people want to come take a picture, he's like happy to do it.
Wow.
It's a little weird because we're trying to go out to dinner, like, and just have like a nice, time, and there's like people stare, just kind of feel bad because we were like staring, trying to sneak pictures. I'm like, like, he's so nice to everybody. All the waiters want to take pictures. He's like happy, like more than happy to do it. But I'm just like, just let him eat dinner,
Yeah.
But he's honestly fantastic.
You have to have a certain type of mindset for that, right?
Yeah, and he's kind of he's not an introvert, but he's a little like quiet, you know what I mean? He's not like, really eccentric and like, like a lot of those like kind of actors
Out
and musicians are.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm probably sure he's really used to it. But, I couldn't have been better, like he's
That's
such a nice guy. And I think it's so nice to like be able to tell people that like truthfully, not like, oh yeah, he's okay. Like,
now,
he's genuinely great.
Were there other people on this ride with you?
No. So I did just that portion together. We did Portugal, but what was crazy was like the other people like on that season was like, Johnny Knoxville and Keanu Reeves, and then there was like another musician, and then me. Like,
wow.
Like that season,
hey, you're in good company.
That season was really short
cool.
because I think he's been so busy. But like, I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's just me, and then like all these like Johnny Knoxville and Keanu Reeves, and I don't know. It was really like a really weird pinch me moment, like
surreal,
what
right?
The hell, And it was really
How'd
fun.
they find me?
Yeah, it was really fun watching it when it came out too. Like with my friends and I, we were like in a cabin in Big Bear and watched it. And it was like a year later it came out, but I was like, this is so weird.
Yeah. But that's, and all this turned out for you as a result of the digital camera.
Yes, and like learning to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We did talk about photo stuff and like my events and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, riding a motorcycle totally changed my life.
Yeah, if you never did and you were just in the
now?
cars, you would have not gone on that trip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just over 10 years.
That's crazy cool.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Your parents must just be like, wow, look at her go.
I think they are now.
She's stuck with it.
Yeah. I can't really imagine what I probably would just be, I'd probably really have tried harder to make my photo career happen and do that. But that was such a hustle because I really fell out of love when I was really hustling to shoot photos and just taking whatever jobs I could because I needed to pay my rent, and I really started to dislike it. I was really not passionate about it, and it became very much a job and not something that I like really cared about. And honestly, like when I went on that road trip was when I really felt compelled to pick up a camera and like was excited to document what I was doing. Like it had been a couple years.
So then if you kind of bring the two together and work with different companies on doing the photography and tie it into the shows and writing it helps to get that passion.
Yeah, a lot of people I think don't know that I'm a photographer anymore because the shows have really like that's been at the forefront for so many years now. But like I used to shoot a lot of stuff for Harley. Like I've shot for like so many like dream brands. Like I feel very fortunate and like I've gotten to also be in a lot of motorcycle campaigns, which has been really cool. Like
that
I was in
really cool.
2 years ago I was in like the model year Harley, Indian, Royal Enfield, like all in the same year, and that was really cool. Like
that's amazing.
Being on the other side of the camera is also extremely fun, and I feel like it's not lost on me. I feel so lucky to have all these opportunities because I just thought riding a motorcycle would be cool, and my life has really just
opened up.
Yeah, my life revolves around that, and like I know every day I'm so lucky that I can wake up and like do this, and I don't have to like go do a job that I don't like.
Yeah. So oftentimes we get kind of stuck in a loop.
Yeah, because I have to make money. I have to survive.
Yeah. Yeah. And to step out of that, sometimes people, it might not be that they don't have the courage to do it. They just don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, to like get out of the cycle of what they're doing.
And even just the opportunities there, taking advantage of it and taking that risk.
And now
sometimes.
what do I do?
Yeah, there's a lot of like luck and timing involved, to just step away of like from whatever you're doing to survive,
But don't you think also it has something to do with mindset as well? I mean, you seem like a very upbeat, positive person. Have you always been that way? Like looking at the glass half full as opposed to half empty.
I think it's more about I've just always been really driven to make things work, not necessarily like I'm like super positive. I definitely try and stay in that mindset.
I like the honesty though. I think that's cool.
My friends kind of have jokes about me being like so like kind of monotone and very like never smiling, and like I'm a generally happy person, but I think my friend's joke is that like, your biggest secret is that you're nice. Because people think I'm really intimidating.
I love that.
Well, just maybe if you're in the mindset of okay, you got
to get stuff done.
The show going. You got
Yeah, I think I just kind of come off serious a lot of the time, and I'm not. I don't emote a lot, so I think people just think I'm like a little more intense than I really am. But like, I am a very nice person.
I love that. So, is your bike now? Is that your dream bike?
If I had more room, I definitely would have other bikes. I think the style of my bike is my dream bike. Like I would love to have kind of like an early 60s Sportster, and that's what my bike looks like now, or it's styled after that. Like I've already had the vintage stuff, and like it's nice to have the reliable. I mean, my bike is still kind of older. It's a '99. It's not anything brand new. It still has a carburetor. But it's reliable. Like that thing's
you're not worried about it.
I hope.
Yeah.
It's not like a '60s bike, which is going to have problems and stuff. Like I don't necessarily work on all my stuff. I know a little bit of things, but like I'm not sitting there wrenching away. I don't have a garage. Like I don't have all those things. So having something reliable that like looks cool, how I want it to look, is like a little bit more important than having like the cool vintage thing for me right now in this time and space. I have my car, which I really love, and it that thing's reliable. That was my like daily for a couple months when I got like I have a more modern car, but that thing will keep on going. It guzzles gas like motherfucker, but but it looks cool and it drives really well.
Amen to that, right? So typically we ask people what their favorite or what their dream car or motorcycle would be, and where would they drive it. It's kind of hard because
you've already done that a little bit.
Already done some really cool things. But are there instances that stand out in your mind that maybe, I don't know, that you want to go see the Northern Lights somewhere on a motorcycle? Cool. Or I'm not trying to guide you in that direction.
I mean, yes, I would love
pick one. Okay,
go north.
Go north.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I've ridden in Alaska too. I did that with like some of those same girls. That was really interesting.
Did you ride just in Alaska, or did you guys ride up?
Okay, so Lana and Becky, they drove, like at the time Becky lived in Vancouver and Lana lived in Portland, and they drove a Sprinter van with their bikes in it to Alaska.
Holy moly.
And I had like an art show or something, so I flew up there and met them, and then Lana had to leave for work, so me and Becky drove the Sprinter van back to Vancouver.
Oh,
and
wow.
That was an interesting thing.
Oh, boy.
It was scary because it was like, like the drive through the Yukon was is like nothing, and it's black. Like, and like at the time, like we were listening to like just murder podcasts the whole time.
Oh, no.
And
so you're waiting for the guy that's going to pop out from the...
Yeah, there was this one about the Trail of Tears, which is like a stretch of road in the Yukon where a bunch of like Native women have like gone missing and things like that.
Yeah,
we're listening to it as we're driving.
I was
going
to say you specifically
like,
picked
dark as fuck, and we're like, oh god.
You specifically picked the episode
down dirt roads and like, oh god,
about where you are.
Yeah,
not like something like in Louisiana or something.
But a Sprinter van that worked out really good for you then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it worked. It was great. Not riding a bike through there, that would have been really intense.
Oh my gosh.
But that was an interesting trip too. I'm really due for something like a crazy adventure like that, because these things were all like quite a few years ago. Becky and I have ridden. She's the person I probably put down the most miles with. But we've gone on quite a few adventures. We've ridden in Mexico a lot. Like we went to. We've ridden down to San Felipe a bunch of times, which is on the like east coast of like the Baja, and I remember the first time we did it, there's this ride called El Diablo Run, which happens like every other year. And it used to be more of a ride where like people would ride down to San Felipe and then ride across the Baja and like up Tijuana, Ensenada, Tijuana, like Rosarito and stuff. And right now it's just people meet in San Felipe, and we've gone to it since then, but we like wanted to do that ride. And so her and I just did it. And we did it after Babe's Ride Out one year. Like we were in Joshua Tree and we like asked a bunch of people if they wanted to go with us. And I was like, that sounds sketchy. And we're like, that's fine. And so her and I just went, and it was honestly, we were totally fine. I mean, there was some moments that were a little weird, but we went down there and stayed at the place where they do EDR. And like the guy's name was Ruben, and he had all these like, they were so great. They cooked for us, gave us coffee. Like it was like we were totally taken care of. And then we started on our adventure like across, and that it was a little weird, sketchy. We like camped and stuff. I wish Becky
didn't get much sleep.
She loves to tell a story of how she like lit me on fire.
Oh my goodness!
We were starting a fire on the beach, and like it's always really smart to pour gas on the fire from a gas can.
Oh yeah.
And like she did it.
It travels up.
She threw it, and like it just like went, like my eyelashes the next day were like singed.
Oh
like,
wow!
She like threw it, and I had to like stop, drop, and roll.
Oh.
It was really funny.
Did you run into the ocean?
No, I just stopped, dropped, and rolled, and it was fine.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
But yeah, we've had a lot of fun motorcycle adventures.
So you're
together.
due for another adventure.
We're definitely due for another one.
We definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah, I don't even know what
as soon as you tell us, we're back here.
We're definitely due for another one. I haven't done anything really cross country. Like I've ridden like out of the state and stuff, like Nevada City, like through like San Francisco, and I've done all of that kind of stuff. But I haven't done a lot of stuff out of state, so definitely due for something like that.
I love that. Best advice you can give to another woman when they're looking at like the direction they want to take their life?
I think it's really important to follow the things you're actually passionate about, because like that's where you want to kind of find yourself and end up. Like if you want to start getting hired for like this type of certain type of work, like when I like in photo, for example, like when people ask me about that, I'm just like, just shoot the stuff you really care about, that you really love, because it'll come through like how much you love that, like in your work. And like you want to get hired for that, you need to show people that that's what you can do, and like don't just shoot stuff that you think people want to see, because then you're getting hired for stuff you don't care about. You know, like continuing to shoot the stuff you're passionate about that like really fulfills you, like that's really important to like show that to the world, because like then if that's the work you want, like you need to attract that into your life. I think that kind of like transcends into everything. It's like to just continue doing the things you're really passionate about, that you care about, so that you can like, whether you're making money from it or not, like you need to be personally fulfilled. And that's something that I think that I've learned in the last like, it's really been apparent to me in the last several years, like trying to find hobbies and stuff that are different, that like you're doing kind of alone, because those are the things that really fulfill you. Like I started doing jiu-jitsu a couple years ago, like really riding horses a lot. Like those things personally fulfill me. They're like a little bit different than like, my job or whatever, but it's like, I think it's really important for your like character and your passion and your just like longevity to really be, finding the things that you really love, that really fulfill you. And I think that's kind of like what life is about. I
agree with you 100%. Any questions?
I'm the co-host.
Oh my! Well, that's why I'm asking. I'm turning to the co-host here. Do you have any questions for Adri?
What's the other question that you always usually ask? The who? And you have to say the in the correct way, because not
Yes, I won't.
Dead or
oh my God! Stop. Okay, dead or alive? Who would you like to sit down and have a conversation with, a cocktail or a meal?
Okay. So you guys told me about this question, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I want to come up with like a cool answer or something, something special. It's like I thought about like some musicians, like Elvis would be cool. But honestly, like right now I'm not, but I can be a little bit awkward sometimes, and I feel like sitting with like, if I was sitting across from Elvis having dinner with him, I don't even know if I could function.
Speak.
But
he might not be able to function either. So
well, it depends what age we're talking.
What Elvis? What era Elvis?
Beginning era Elvis.
Yeah.
Not
50s
not
Elvis.
like not Vegas Elvis.
Yeah.
I think that would just be honestly be stressful for me. So I was like, if I could sit down with anyone, it would just be like my best girlfriends. You know what I mean? Because then I could be relaxed, have fun. We'd be having some martinis and having like a fantastic time. Like that's who I want to spend my time with. I'd love to meet all these like cool people, but like at the end of the day, like I want to be around my people.
And it would probably be like in the middle of a road trip on a motorcycle somewhere.
Yeah.
You stopping in at some little diner or some little dive bar
or having
in the middle of
I
nowhere.
love having breakfast at like a good little
Oh yes,
diner. That's my absolute favorite. So like or at a Waffle House, honestly.
Waffle House is always good.
It would just be with my like best girlfriends and maybe my dog.
I know, right? But that's when you're in your space of your most vulnerable. That's when the coolest stories come out. 100%. That's when the best answers. Yeah. When you're there with your tribe.
Yeah, with your people, you know. And I've like gotten close with some girls over the last like few years that are like, I'm going to be friends with them for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And like to be a little bit like older and not like, 16 or 17 and like meeting girls who are your age and like actually becoming friends with them and it not being a weird competition or like these weird vibes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like that, those girls are so special to me. And like one of them is a car girl that I know and my other one is just the friend I did the road trip with. Like I met her like less than a year ago, but her and I connected like insane quickly.
Yeah.
And like,
I think you can have multiple soulmates.
100. You can totally have girlfriend soulmates or friend soulmates. 1,000%. I think those are almost like.
I agree with you.
I
agree with you.
Like, that's so important to have your people be there to support you and have your back.
Where can people find you? I mean, don't give your home address.
I prefer that they didn't physically find me.
They're not going to find you that way. Digitally. I need to clean up. Yeah, I need to clean up that question too. Socially and digitally.
Yeah, on my Instagram, AudreyADRI.LAW or ParadiseRoadshow.com or ReunionShow.com or AudriLaw.com.
Okay, we'll make sure that we stick all of the .coms down in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here. You're amazing. And yes, you're absolutely right. You are nice.
Don't tell anybody.
The camera's on right now. So.
Yeah, her best kept secret is she's kind.
And then when are the dates of the show, just again for Paradise Roadshow in Palm Springs and Nashville?
Okay, so Paradise Roadshow in Palm Springs is January 10th and 11th, 2025. And then, I hope I'm saying the right date for Nashville, July 19th, 2025 at the Dive Motel. And then I have another show called Reunion, which will be in May, I think at the this place called the Valley Relics Museum. I was doing it at the Automobile Driving Museum, and unfortunately we're closing. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You guys, thanks for following along. I'm Fastlane Jane.
I'm Jason Mulligan, not Design Muse or Theresa at all.
And I'm Adri Law.
And thanks for tuning in to High Octane Hustle. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you like what you saw here.